4 a.m. in the morning.
Well, thank you, Lillian. Indeed, again here in Kwale County, we are joined by Kisumu Governor Professor Peter Nyongo. He is an opposition governor, of course, playing a key role in this second term of devolution because, number one, he was, the chairperson of the Senate Public Accounts and Investment Committee, an oversight committee that, oversight governors. And so, karibu sana, Professor, to Citizen TV.
Thank you.
Tell us your input to devolution in this second term of devolution, especially having oversaw, the first term of devolution as the chair of the the Senate Public Accounts and Investment Committee.
Well, my experience as chairman of the Public Accounts and Investment Committee was that counties still needed a lot of capacity building, particularly in the area of financial management, in the area of accountability, and in the area of internal controls. Two departments are extremely important in counties regarding financial management: internal audit and finance department in general. But and the finance department, I would say it is internal audit and procurement. This is where capacity building is extremely important. Even if a governor is very visionary and very capable of running a county, if you don't have proper personnel committed to running the county accountably, qualified to do the jobs in the area of procurement and internal audit, you can have a lot of problems. Secondly, and this is very important, we must understand that there is something we have to discuss with salaries and the Salaries Review Commission, in the sense that the salaries we offer at the county level makes it very difficult for us to hire qualified human resources to run the county. Personally, I cannot hire, for example, an executive secretary because the salaries of executive secretaries, even in the civil service and even in parastatals, are much higher than we can afford in counties, given the structural salaries in counties. So I think the idea of remuneration of professionals in the counties should be reviewed. There shouldn't be disparity between what parastatals can do, for example, and counties cannot do. You end up getting sometimes quite incompetent personnel because of salaries in very critical departments. That's my experience.
So what do you think should be changed now going forward in terms of, there has been a lot of financial misappropriation in the first batch of governors, especially in the committee that you sat. There were a lot of audit queries that until today remain unanswered. How is that going to impact devolution going forward?
Because first of all, the readiness to be accountable and the commitment to transparency and accountability is important. Whatever problems you have in counties, that is paramount. But much more than that, you can do your best, but the capacity of the people to do so is very low. I do remember that there are certain counties which could not even present proper books of account. There are certain counties where personnel don't even know what the Public Finance Management Act is, or the Public Procurement Disposal Act is, Public Audit Act is, and what they entail in terms of financial accountability. So I would say that first and foremost is the knowledge, the capacity, the level of human resources employed, and their commitment to follow rules and regulations is paramount. So we sometimes, of course, can find cases of outright misappropriation and corruption that could be dealt with, but where you know that corruption is not the issue, capacity and professionalism must be assured.
SRC the other day released a report that said counties are leading in terms of a bloated workforce, and that is really, increasing the wage bill instead of cutting it down. As a first-time governor who is coming to take over from another governor, have you experienced a situation where there is a lot of people in the county governments that have been hired by the board that you can't fire but keep on paying them?
That is true. I mean, for example, the other day I went to City Hall. Kisumu, a city county, Cameroon. The city of Kisumu, which is managed by the City Management Board. Then there's the county of Kisumu with 7 sub-counties, 6 of which are rural. So you have the problem of Kisumu city having very extensive departments handling very sensitive issues like traffic or fire or just management of the city, revenue collection. I go to the city and I find 7 people sitting in a room, and I ask the city manager, what are these people doing? And she says she has a problem with them because some were hired from the defunct county councils. They were brought to the city and the county government. Quite honestly, we have excess baggage in the county. This is something that we should discuss with the national government very carefully, because we have to downsize the workers, but you can't do it inhumanly. There must be resources by which you retire people. We ourselves have decided to get the services of some of the professional human resources firms to do a professional evaluation of what size of civil service we need in the county, and make suggestions how we can downsize this civil service. There are some people who, after you have done an evaluation of the public service, you'll find that they were hired under very doubtful circumstances. Some of them don't have qualifications to occupy the places they occupy. Those you just dismiss, because obviously there was a mistake right from the very beginning, and they know that they were presenting false papers, and they go. So I would say in some place like Kisumu, we have quite a number of that. So you'll find that once you do due diligence, you don't have so many people to retire, but you have to retire those that you have whom you cannot pay. Maybe
my final question to you, Prof, is the disbursement of funds from the national government to the county level. Is it timely?
It is not. For example, I remember before I left the Senate, we had already passed the divisional revenue bill. And it had taken since then, I mean, it was July last year. Just recently, the government announced that they are going to disburse funds to the counties. Even after the announcement, the funds have not hit our accounts. And it makes it very difficult, because here you are paying a bloated workforce, which is not doing developmental job. So there's double jeopardy. You have to pay this workforce. You can't implement in development because funds are not available from the treasury. And I think counties find it very difficult. That is why I was even discussing with development partners that in areas where you want to invest, for example in health, I know that health as a county function, discuss directly with us. Don't put the money in the treasury. Then the treasury holds it up. Then the treasury develops terms under which it can be spent. That whole bureaucracy and the people you pay in health to manage those funds are a baggage. If you brought that money directly to the counties and we agreed on terms of spending this money, it will be very efficient. But at the moment, I think we are penny wise and pounds foolish as far as getting money from development partners and financing areas which are our responsibility under Schedule 4 of the Constitution: agriculture, health, water. I think it is very important that we revisit the discourse on development partner fundings, especially in situations like this where the national government delays with development funds for so long.
Thank you, Prof. That is Kisumu Governor Professor Peter Nyongo. He was a former chairperson of the Senate Public Accounts and Investment Committee. 2 members of that committee, that is the chair and the vice chair, actually, Professor John Lonyangapuo, have been elected to be governors after, you know, now they are going to oversee now what they had learned, the mistakes that their predecessors now made when they went through the Auditor General's book. And of course, the Prof is raising a very serious questions in terms of disbursement of funds from the national government to the county level, where we witnessed some of the county services stalling because there were no funds to, you know, run the counties. Issues to do, you know, with oversight and prudent use of public resources is some of the issues we are expecting to touch or to be touched on at this particular forum of the induction of governors, 47 of them, and of course their deputies. The issues of the EACC and how it is also playing the role in terms of ensuring or tightening the loopholes of where public resources are being lost to. And so for now, I'll hand you back. And of course, later on, Lillian, again, we will join you with more governors giving their views on how this second term of devolution is going to be implemented and whether, you know, strengthening devolution will be achieved in the next 5 years. Lillian, back